So now we're going to do the existing customer journey and show you how the tools are able to quickly modify everything. So I'm going to pick existing customer. At this point, the application really doesn't actually know what it's doing. It's being told all of these things ahead of time. So for example, I'm being asked for a PIN. It didn't know that this screen was going to happen. It didn't know that the PIN needs to be 6 digits long, for example, etc. before this was actually rendered. So now I've got like a basket screen or a customer account summary screen. If I hit trade in again, it's about to go on a journey and it knows nothing about currently. So when I press trade in, what happens is this information that's being shown here is coming in real time from the server. And if I flick across to here, I'm about to go on this journey where I'm going to ask some data about a trade-in. I'm going to call an API to get the valuation. I'm going to agree the value of the device, and then if the device is an iPhone, I'm going to ask the customer to disable Find My iPhone. And I'll quickly run through this so you can see what it looks like. So this is the, if I flip back to QuickTime now, this is the first step where I'm being asked for a whole bunch of data. I can do things like, take a photo, etc. Press continue. So now I get an estimate value back. I can be asked to sign that. So this is agreeing the estimate value step, and then press next. And because it was an iPhone, I'm being asked now to turn off Find My iPhone, and take a photo of the screen that proves that I've done that. You could also integrate to an API to do this, but for the purposes of the demo, this is fine. So now I hit complete trade-in, and I'm done. Okay, so and that step is now ticked. Now, if I go back and I rerun this, back to trading, I can show you how you can actually make changes on the fly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into here now. Because I'm going to change this, I don't want to break it for anybody else. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to create a new release. So I'm going to click on manage, I'm going to create a new work stream, new release effectively, and I'm going to call it release 112. And this is demo release. I can say, is it a full-blown production release, is it a fix, or is it like a development release? And it's a development release. And the source of it was a previous work stream, which was release 111. So this is how you can do versioning, things like this. So I'm going to save that. And what that does now is it copies everything from the previous release into this new release. So I can have a look at release 112, and it's all identical to how it was. So the first thing that happened was the screen that I'm showing now on the tablet, this screen here, is being defined by the data that I put in on this particular screen here. So this is effectively how I define my self-describing API. I say the API needs to better ask for a hardware ID, an image match, conditions, and potentially capture an image of the device as well. Now obviously that isn't necessarily relevant on a web channel or if you're in the call center. So, and in fact you can see that if I go to a web channel, so this is a web view of the same process, so it looks a little bit different, but again it's running through the same process that we had before. 6, and again it looks a little bit different, the kind of customer profile. Right, so I've got a lot of the same data, I don't have the ability to capture the phone. If I go into a call center view, so before on the M&O journey or the journey we showed on the tablet where I was asking for certain things and everything I asked for was effectively on a different screen, because in a call center you want to maximize the screen real estate, this is all condensed into one screen, and the data I'm looking for the trade-in is entered here. But again, I haven't got an image capture, and that is defined in the design time tool like this. So if I click on edit to have a look at this step, click on image capture, I can see here that sometimes this field is disabled. So sometimes I'm not going to ask to capture the image, and there's a rule for that. And the rule says if the business context, the channel effectively, isn't retail, then I'm going to disable the field. Right, so because I know in the retail channel I've got access to the tablet. And so setting things up like rules like that is very straightforward to do. Now imagine I want to add in an extra piece of data into this step. That's what I'll do as part of the demo. So what I do is I go into my data editor. And this is because the data model in DXP is completely flexible. I can literally create new things on the fly. So those can be things like objects, arrays, simple properties, etc. First thing I want to do is I want to create some reference data. What I'm going to do is I'm going to collect the color of the device being traded in. So what I want to do to start with is, and this is where you can create things like lists, tables, all sorts of stuff like this, your reference data. I just want to create a new list of colors. So this is device colors, so it's not just any old color. This is phone devices, phone colors. And I want it to be a string. You could also have lists of other things. So in this particular case, because it's for phones, I'm going to go for piano black. I'm going to go for just straight black. Let's go for space grey, rose gold. We'll have a silver in there as well, and maybe white. Okay. So I've now created a load of reference data. What I want to now be able to do is I want to capture the color and store that in a variable or a property as we call it. Yeah, so this is old device color. Okay, so this is the and this wants to be the color of the device being traded in. Okay, and I can make it different base types. I can set privacy at this point. I could say I want it to be confidential. I want it to be completely masked in any logs, etc. That doesn't need to be here, and I can give it validation. That validation can be things like character length. So you saw before on the PIN number, that was a character length or a character length item. You can give it regular expressions. Right, so you may have a whole load of different regular expressions you can give it. In this particular case, I just want to choose from a list, and the list I want to choose from is the one I just created, the device colors. So I do that, press save. So now effectively I've created a new element. It'll be picked from a list of reference data. What I want to do now is I want to add it into a step of my journey. So I'm going to add it into the first step of my trading. So I just go in here, this is my journey editor. Scroll down to the bottom, there's my old device color. So this is the data I just created. Drag that in. Just literally just drop it in. I can click on it here. And I say I want this to be entered by the user. It's not coming from an API. Okay, I don't want to give it any special rules in this particular case. So I literally just save that off and I can press preview. So I'll just press preview, and this effectively pushes the change, makes it available. You can go through a much more complex, obviously, workflow cycle of approvals in order to do that. I can look at how this is going to look now, just by clicking it here. So this is my kind of journey view. I can see here's my list of things I've just defined. And this is really like a very raw view of what the data looks like before any look and feel has been applied to it. If I flick across to my web view and I refresh that, without having to make a change at all, I've now got this available to me in this particular view. Obviously, more styling has been defined there. You'll notice although that this is just a label. It's not proper text. If I want to change that, I can just go back in here to my data editor, go to translations, click on edit, scroll to the bottom of my list, which has got a big list because it's a full data model for a network operator, and I can put traded in device color. Save that off. Go back here, press preview again in order to make that happen and make that change available. So now when I go back into here, just check that's actually happened, yeah. And I press refresh. That now says traded in device color. Okay, so I'm able to make those changes very quickly. The same thing here, if I go into this channel, reset my call, click deal, I've got the same thing I can pick from here. And even when I flick across to my single page app, again I can pick from there. So what it means is I can make a change in one place and it can affect all of my channels without me having to fit the change into the change cycles for the different channels. Okay. Now, one of the other things is after I've picked a particular color here, so let me pick rose gold, I'll select that, pick something there, and obviously things like being able to take the photo is really useful on something like a trade-in, because what it does is it enables me to do things like actually check that the condition of the phone is good. So if I pick take photo, I can now do *#06#, shows me the IMEI of the device. I can take that as a photo. So if I'm now trading in, autofocus lock there. That's better, right. If I'm trading something in, I now know that the phone works, I know what the IMEI is, and I've got a photo of the condition of the front of the device. So if somebody's got a shattered screen, the employee isn't tempted to say, yeah, it's good condition, just to give the customer a better value. So I press continue. Now it's giving me, here's my, it's my iPhone 6s, it's good condition, estimate value is this. And I can ask the customer to sign. Now, this value is coming from an API. So this $120 is £120 coming from an API. I can show you how that piece works. If I flick back to my design time tool, it's the same tool for doing integration as well. Here's the third parties. Here's my trade-in lookup. I can have a look at what that looks like. So here's the API for the trade-ins. Here's my full data model. And here's the mappings that I've got. So I've got image URLs, I've got an international identifier coming back, and I've got an estimated value. If I delete the estimated value, which I can do just by clicking on it, and I save that, I will now, when I flick back to this screen, that will come out as 0, as opposed to having a proper value map to it. The other thing I could do, just to show some of the other configuration, is this signature capture box. That in the data editor is defined as a signature capture. Actually, one value estimate. Accept trading value signature there. I can edit that. So that's a string. It's got a tag which is signature capture. And that's the thing that tells the front end it wants to be a signature capture. If I delete that and get rid of the format, that will no longer be a signature capture box. Okay, so you'll see these changes if I go back in here and I press preview again. Okay. So I press preview. Now when I go back in to this screen, it will look quite different. So in fact, if I go back in here, press trade in, it'll resume here, the signature capture box is gone. Now you see the estimate value is the same. That's because it's already effectively cached that value. So in order to show that's changed, I need to go back in, restart my session, and quickly whiz through the journey, existing customer. Hit the trade in, collect some more details, good condition, remember, it was rose gold, continue. So you see the estimate has gone to 0. Okay. And here again, likewise, if I go to my other channels now, so I go back to Honeybee, right, there we go, click that, it's good condition, it's rose gold, press submit, see the values disappear. So whether it displays a 0 or blank, that's really up to the channel to say how that wants to work. And if I go back to the call center channel, in this particular channel I have to put in the IMEI because I haven't done an account lookup first, so it's good. It's rose gold. Okay, so again that's shown as blank. And if now if I want to reverse those changes, yeah, I don't like those. All I have to do, and backing out, all I have to do is I can go back in here, click on release 111. That now reloads the old model. If I press preview now, everything will have gone back to how it was. So a rollback in Honeybee is incredibly trivial. It's like takes 30 seconds to be able to do a rollback between any two versions. So now I've done that rollback. If I go back to here, and that one, accept trading value, I can go back actually to cancel that. Go to try my trading today. It's carrying on the journey from where it was. I will just log out, and now when I go back in, so now it's all back to how it was before. So I've lost the ability to put the device can the color in, etc. And all the other changes will be reverted. So it's incredibly quick to roll back as well.